Aside from Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore's movie, there's never, and arguably elements of JFK, there's never really been successful public education television. Jacques Cousteau would sometimes put on a special. But even those things that were marginally commercial television, like Discovery 66, were calculated at nap time to put you to sleep. That's all this is going to do. I don't see why anybody is watching it, except maybe that someone would want to know why in the world America has fallen to fascism. This is public education about that subject. Now, there are some things that need to be understood to follow that. But this is not Ed Sullivan television. This is about the excuse that's given by a vigilante network of Hollywood plumbers who staged guerrilla theater, torturing and kidnapping me and illustrating for their flock why they believe their weapons program of genocide and extermination is justified. It revolved around a Jewish starlet named Leslie Sinetta Katz and led to Mount Desert Island, an AIDS testing war game in the 80s. I was tortured for testifying by black allies in politics of Paul McCartney, such as Bruce Harrell and Aaron Dixon, and ended up with Parkinson's disease at a very young age of 64. My life has been ruined, and all the work I did to try to get an education has very little hope of gaining any sort of foothold as a footnote written by a library clerk. Leslie Sinetta Katz was a partner of John Schulman. She went to Ellis Girls School. John Schulman and Leslie Katz founded the Jabberwocky Yammer Poetry Club at my high school. And she introduced me to a lesbian for magical religion at Swarthmore named Tammy Simon, or T. Simon, who owns Sounds True Studio in Boulder, Colorado. These lesbians guarded their propriety for discreet slander purposes. And fortunately, I didn't dally beyond the red line. I simply served them to their pleasure and didn't entertain any thoughts of pleasure of my own. So Robert Fripp heard about this and, desirous evidently of protecting his partner in thieving, John Schulman, who was arrested for an $8 million museum heist, contacted Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood has had a hard-on for me for as long as I can remember. And he knows what he would do if he had a hard-on for somebody. He would ripper them, and he would follow them, and he would kick their door down, and he would bring in the SWAT team, and he would batter them, and he would torture them, and he would poison them, and he would electroshock them until they surrendered to his pleasure. So he believed his whole heart that I didn't heal properly from being rejected by T. Simon, and he decided he wanted to fare some Sani with me. And Farasani, a Vanda was performed for Hypatia feminist philosophy through the network of Bush that summoned Fripp and Eastwood because Shulman was getting some licky chops in the museum for Tonic Toons. And they had a Donald unit. Now, cheap hosts from Nancy Weigel's Bordello were not really high on my list of priorities. If they fell by the wayside because they picked me up and discarded me, well, that's just their sad affair. What I was dealing with was a network of great irregularity. The great irregularity of an extermination program they called Donald Unit Gilligan Island. Donald Unit Gilligan Island lived at 125 Campbell Street with Zsa Zsa, the Japanese UW dialectical priestess of explanations for Truman's decision in the Sunday of Santa Cruz community that tweaked the Beverly Hills cattle so much that Gavin Newsom summoning a smackdown with Toon over its property value. So property value is of the essence of this syndicate. There was an urban public notary tucked up in the back of a long lot yard next to Brecker's, across the street from whom lived Andelman, involved in a Wells Fargo takeover. Andelman lived across the street from Brecker for a while. Now, Brecker, when I was legally under hypnosis, gave me a barrel was evidently an elephant tranquilizer, which crude people from Mercy Hospital said I was lucky I only got Parkinson's from this Corey poison that Corey and Brecker administered. Harold, a barrel of elephant tranquilizers. Brecker used to try to kill me when I was legally under hypnosis. And they did all of this for Gail Burston. Ringo Starr and Gail Burston worked together all along.